All right, welcome all. Today, real quick, just I want to go over. David Lynch had a great. He has a great quote. It says, or it reads, "I don't know why people expect art to make sense. They accept the fact that life doesn't make sense." I think this is true, and the more that we go into this decade, I think art is going to have to go into the abstract, where a lot of things are not making too much sense. They're going to have to be a collection of ideas as opposed to straightforward plot and stuff like that. So I agree with David Lynch because a lot of the criticisms of let's say The Dark Knight Rises is the fact that the plot is so many plot holes and stuff like that. And I understand that, but it's just it's interesting how the audience. To me, it says a lot more about the audiences and the historical period that we're in because it's it's obviously a scientific kind of approach to storytelling that I don't know if it's really. I'm not a plot person anyway, So when I saw The Dark Knight Rises, to me, I was just looking at the ideas. I wasn't necessarily concerned with the plot necessarily, and that's how I watch films for the most part, and it's been that way for a long time. I'm not necessarily concerned about the plot unless that's what the movie is just about. So if you take like Memento or something like that, you're doing something interesting with the plot, and you're kind of driving the medium forward in a certain way. And so certainly, I can respect that. But when you go into David Lynch and you go into, this kind of surrealism and the abstract, I do feel like because our lives are becoming, very much like a dream state. And, excuse me, what I mean by that is, we are in, virtual reality for the most part. We are in an augmented reality. We are, cyborgs in a particular sense. It's not, the absolute definition of, let's say, a cyborg or something like that, but being able to, answer questions immediately with your cell phone and stuff like that. We have access to extraordinary amounts of information at our fingertips. Where, in 1995, if you're walking down the street, you can't remember the name of the movie or the actor, or, if you can't remember, a historical figure off the top of your head, you're going to the encyclopedia, which is, I'm sure, at the house. It's just you're not pulling a computer out of your pocket and getting this kind of information. So the relationship to what I just said to David Lynch, why do we expect art to make sense, is because of this kind of virtual reality, augmented reality, cyborg-ish kind of experience. Dreams are becoming, and daydreams are becoming more and more a part of our lives. And what I mean by daydreams is, when you go to sleep at night, obviously that's a personal dream for you, and it's being extracted from the subconscious, unconscious, or whatever your, whatever your stance is on dreams and stuff like that. But the daydream, and a lot of people have daydreams. I mean, the ideas come to you throughout the day. I mean, you can see it, and it almost dominates your senses for a little bit. And then you snap back to reality. But, I think filmmaking in and of itself is a daydream because you're experiencing a dream in the external world, someone else's dream in the external world, a collection of other people's dreams in the external world. So I consider it a daydream. It's just not, it's not your personal, it's not coming from your own head. So, and the more that we can look at screens and the more that we can, see videos and TikTok and stuff like that, is the more that we're in this kind of dreamlike state. So, art needs to adapt to that, in a lot of ways. And I think the reason why the third season of Twin Peaks was so successful is because now I think that the audience very much is ready for abstract symbolism, surrealism. I think we're getting the audience is kind of wanting more of that, and it's a secular kind of thing because David Lynch had some successful films, and throughout Hollywood there has been surrealist takes on subjects and on adaptations and what have you. Fellini and all these other foreign filmmakers took on that style as well, and I think the audience is ready for it again, where plots are not as important as the experience. So to get back to The Dark Knight Rises, I think it really is an important film to take a look at plot because, again, I mean, it's, okay, I get it, like how do you get all the police officers under there and, underground, and, why is there nobody else, kind of manning the telephones or whatever? Why is everything, kind of so convenient, and like I get that, but for me the idea of kangaroo courts and this is post Occupy Wall Street, the popularity of Occupy Wall Street. This is a couple of years after that, so I think he was incorporating kind of what would happen if a movement like that was fully realized, and what's going on with the country as far as like. I don't know. I think those ideas, in and of themselves, are important ideas to explore. And I think, The Dark Knight Rises is very much a David Lean-esque kind of big scale, filmmaking where there's no computer-generated background actors. Everything is just large scale, the way that you would shoot, Lawrence of Arabia or something like that. So, and on top of the fact I'm assuming he had to, be in meetings about The Dark Knight Rises while he was shooting Inception, So you have two things going on, I think, at once, and, you're trying to do something big and bring a trilogy to its end, and I think very well. So again, I mean, the ideas as far as fear-based kind of control and decisions in the first one, nihilism and terrorism and stuff like that in the second one, and then the third one, these kind of kangaroo courts and what would happen if in our current mindset. What would happen if there was kind of like a mini, revolution, like a mini movement against, what capitalism sustains, which is, billionaires and greed and all these things. But what would happen in our current mental and psychological, what would happen in our psychological state? I think it's pretty accurate, as far as the way that, Christopher Nolan decided to depict it. So to me, like, going over these little plot ideas, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, when I watched 2001, the thing that really sustained the film itself to have such a long life in popular culture are the ideas. I mean, Hal looks cool, obviously, and obviously there's tremendous technical achievements and attention to detail and all that kind of stuff in the film. But it's the ideas that really have survived,